Good morning. I am so excited to be joining you all live today. I have been planning to do this for some time now, and I finally sat down to get it done. And so I think it's an appropriate time for this. I'm going to read a book, and the book is called Winston Meets the President. And I say that it's an appropriate time because it's election time. And so although this book is for young boys and girls, we hope that this will also inspire their parents, their caretakers, their mentors to also go out and vote. The book is written by Renna Ebron, and I can't wait to hear your feedback about how awesome this book is and how it inspires you to go out and vote. Let's get started. Can you see the pictures? So Winston is a Westie, and he actually has his postcard, his envelope, ready to be mailed to cast his vote. Winston ran into the house with much excitement after getting what appeared to be a ticket out of the mailbox. He shouted, "Look, Dad, we are the winners of a raffle ticket." After looking at the ticket, Daddy George laughed and told Winston that what he held in his paw was a reminder to vote in the upcoming presidential election. "Vote for what?" asked Winston. "Vote for the person who will hold the biggest job in the country," replied George. "What does that mean?" asked Winston, full of curiosity. "Well, we have the freedom to vote for our ideas, for what we believe to be true, and for how we feel about what happens in our country," replied George. "That's surely a lot to think about while I eat my dinner, take my bath, brush my teeth, go to school, and play with my friends," said Winston. Smiling, Mommy Sadie joined the conversation by replying, "Yes, it certainly is, Winston. Now go wash your paws for dinner." As they sat down for dinner, Winston picked up his fork and exclaimed, "I vote for no more peas and carrots. Only the good sweet stuff for dinner." Amused, George asked, "Son, how will you grow to become healthy and strong if you don't eat what's good for you?" Winston playfully replied, "I'll just chase after more Frisbees." As they prepared to eat, the family joined paws to give prayers of thanksgiving over the meal. The following day, while running around in the backyard, Winston asked his friend Duncan, "What is your biggest dream, Duncan?" Duncan instantly replied, "My biggest dream is to walk without pedals and, of course, to eat as many treats as I want all day and no yucky green food." "Wouldn't that be cool?" Winston replied. Harpo, another one of Winston's favorite friends, said, "I want to be able to run and play all day without using my inhaler so much and not have to change my sweater all the time." While eating breakfast the next morning, Winston asked, "Mom, who will you vote for the big job?" Sadie smartly replied, "I will vote for the breed that shares my common attitude, interests, and goals." "What does interest mean?" quizzed Winston. "Well, that means that I will vote for matters that are important to me. For example, health, safety, and education. My concerns are for our friends and our communities, our country, and the world." "Why are you so concerned about what happens?" asked Winston. "Could you imagine if no one cared about his neighbor or his community?" asked Sadie. "That is what makes this country a great nation. Our freedom to vote for our concerns, our dreams, our beliefs," she added. "What are our concerns, Dad?" asked Winston. "Your mother and I have some concerns, son. Now finish your breakfast," George replied. "Oh boy, when do I get to vote?" asked an anxious Winston. "You sound so excited, Winston, but you have to be 18 years of age before you can vote," answered Sadie. "Do you tell others who you are voting for, or is it a secret?" asked Winston. "Well, that is your personal choice," asked Sadie. Winston ran out to meet his buddies. "Hey guys," he said, "let's vote." "Well, we're not old enough to vote," replied Harpo. "What are we voting for?" asked Duncan. We are voting for the person to lead our country, who best represents our interests, replied Winston. We are voting to have medicine when we need it and to have a happy world, he stated. Yeah, with all the treats we can eat, added Duncan. I want to vote that we don't have to eat any more of that green or orange stuff that comes in a can or a bag, replied Harpo, wanting to contribute to the conversation. Come on, guys. Let's go to my house and make some posters, said an excited Winston. Mommy Sadie gave Winston and his buddies poster boards and crayons so they could draw who their favorite party was to become the next president. Winston and his friends ran out to the backyard to begin creating their posters. Hey, Winston, suppose I wanted to vote for a different party than you want to vote for, asked the concerned Duncan. Yeah, but what is a party anyway? Harper wanted to know. My dad said that a party is a political group of people who think alike and who work together to win votes. Sometimes they fight and say hurtful things about one another that they really don't mean, Winston went on to explain. That's not fair, answered Duncan. Yeah, sometimes big breeds have timeouts when they don't play fairly, said Winston. Who are the political parties? Asked Harpo with much interest. There are two major parties in the United States. One, Republican, two, Democratic, replied a knowledgeable Winston. Who are you voting for, Winston? Asked the curious Duncan. I'm voting for Luke, the lab, because he is even-tempered and intelligent, replied Winston. I'm voting for Pepper the pug because she's charming, sociable, energetic, and clever, said Dreamy Harpo. But she's a girl, shouted an annoyed Duncan. My mommy is a girl, and she is smart and beautiful. She takes care of me when I'm sick, and she makes me the best treats, replied a thoughtful Winston. Well, I think I'm going to vote for the other one, Bill the boxer, because he's fearless and confident, confided Duncan. After completing their presidential posters, Winston and his pals ran into the house to show Mommy Sadie and Daddy George. Hey, Mom and Dad, look at the posters we made. They look great, boys, said a proud Sadie. Does the president get to make all the rules that we must follow, Winston asked his parents. It does not work exactly like that, replied George. Let's follow a bill's journey to become a law. Mommy Sadie and the boys gathered around to listen to Daddy George as he pulled his chalkboard out from the closet and explained, step by step, how bills become laws, when they were voted on and approved by Congress before being signed by the president. Winston raised his paw with excitement and asked, what is Congress? Daddy George explained that Congress was a national legislative body, which is composed of the Senate and the House of Representatives. Do you mean a bill like a dollar bill? Inquired Harpo. Not quite, Harpo. A bill is a legislative proposal that is put before Congress, explained George. George continued to draw as he explained the steps of how a bill became a law. First, every law starts with an idea. For example, he said, let's say that in step 1, Winston has an idea that all breeds should wear safety helmets when riding bikes. Winston then contacts his elected officials to share his idea. If they want to try to make it a law, they will write a bill. In step 2, the bill is introduced. A bill can start in either the House of Congress when it's introduced by its primary sponsor, a senator, or a representative. In the House of Representatives, bills are placed in a wooden box called the hopper. This is where the bill is signed, a legislative number before the Speaker of the House, and sends it to a committee. Then, in step 3, the bill goes to committee. Representatives or senators meet in a small group to research, talk about, and make changes to the bill. They vote to accept or reject the bill, and it changes before sending it to the House or Senate floor for debate or to a subcommittee for further research. In step 4, Congress debates and votes. Members of the House or Senate can now debate the bill and propose changes or amendments before voting. If the majority vote for and pass the bill, it moves to the other house to go through a similar process of committees, debate, and voting. Both houses have to agree on the same version of the final bill before it goes to the president. By the way, the House uses an electronic voting system, while senators vote by voice. Isn't this exciting? Yes, we're almost done. Those who support the bill say yay, and those who oppose it say nay. In step 5, the bill is sent to the president. The president can sign and pass the law, or refuse to sign or veto the bill, or do nothing. Finally, if the president approves it, the bill becomes a law. Now, the bill has become a new law. It is a rule that all Americans must follow. You see, the laws made by Congress are very helpful to everyone. There are laws that state that a child must go to school at a certain age, laws that establish highway and vehicle safety, and laws that protect us all as well as nature. What happens if the president says no to a bill? Duncan wanted to know. Well, says George, he or she may choose to say no to a bill by vetoing it. If this happens, the bill is returned back to Congress with reasons for vetoing the bill. Congress can override the veto with 2/3 vote of those present in both the House and the Senate. Then the bill can still become a law. If Congress is in session after 10 days of no answer from the president, the bill then automatically becomes a law. The bill dies when there's not enough votes to override the president. I want to be a big congressman someday, shouted an excited Winston. Why not the president, said Harpo. Well, I would have the chance to approve ideas that are helpful and good for others. Right, Dad? Winston asked. You get the idea, son, replied George. I'm very proud of your interest in the lawmaking process, said Sadie. Well, best wishes on each of your choices, George said to the boys. Hey, I have an idea, proposed Winston. Let's go out and put our posters on the nearby houses in support of our favorite breed. Is it all right if we put our posters out, Dad? He asked. You see the posters, they say vote. Vote here. Pepper for president. Sure, but please be careful, son. Behave and respect the choices of others, he added. Yes, sir, replied an obedient Winston. Winston, Duncan, and Harpo ran around to the houses in the neighborhood, excitedly putting up their posters. The neighbors welcomed their enthusiasm and gladly accepted the posters. After a very long and busy day, Winston ran home. He quickly fell asleep beside George's chair as he read the Terrier Times newspaper before bedtime. The following day, Winston went with George and Sadie to vote at the community center, where others stood in line to cast their votes. As George approached the voting booth, Winston followed him and placed his poster on the ballot box. On the way home, Winston asked, Dad, how would you feel if Luke the Lab does not win the election? George smiled and replied, well, son, sometimes our choice loses. We don't always get whom we want in that job, but life must go on. We must continue to work together for the good of all breeds and to have a great country. After dinner, everyone gathered around the television to cheer their favorite breed on to victory. After several hours of watching and waiting, Winston had a thought in his mind. I could have this job one day. This is a huge job with a lot of things to think about. At long last, a winner for the presidential campaign was announced. The biggest job in the country went to Pepper the Pug. Hip, hip, hooray, shouted Sadie. Well, Dad, at least Mom is happy, consoled Winston. I'm glad that Mommy is happy, son, which means that we can all be happy, teased his dad. Actually, I researched all the breeds running for the job of president. It did not matter to me if the breed was a male or female. I wanted the best breed to represent my dreams and goals, as well as those of the country, said a happy Sadie. Besides, it gives all the little female breeds some inspiration to think about all the endless possibilities of becoming whomever they work hard enough to become, including a president. Remember, we can show kindness, mindfulness, and compassion through the process of electing a president by respecting the opinions, values, beliefs, and hopes of others, said a considerate George. Several days later, George received a lunch invitation from the new president, Pepper the Pug. Oh boy, I can't wait to tell my fellows, barked Winston. Dad, may Duncan and Harpo please come with us, he begged. Why, of course, replied George. On the day of the big lunch party, everyone arrived at the big white doghouse with much excitement. They all shook paws with President Pepper the Pug and sat at a huge table filled with lots of delicious food and blueberry biscuit treats. After they had said grace and eaten lunch, President Pepper the Pug presented Winston and his friends with a plaque for their teamwork in getting posters out within the community about the election. George and Sadie looked on proudly as pictures were taken of this very special occasion. As everyone was leaving the big doghouse that day, Winston and his friends joined arms and waved their American flags as they walked with pride down the path of their hopes and dreams. The end. Until we meet again, my friend. Please, please encourage your moms and dads, grandparents, uncles, aunts, mentors, friends to go out and vote. Again, this book was Winston Meets the President by Renna Ebron. I'm Tisha Carter. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat below. Please, please, please share this video. Thank you.